Hi everyone. This is the last week of our module on death, memory, and memorialization. And as we turn to the modern era, we're going to continue to work towards our objectives, but we're also going to focus on public commemoration and public memorials. So these are the objectives that we have had for this module. They should look familiar. But we also want to think now about a few new factors when we think about public memorialization, not just kind of individual acts. We demand a lot from memorials. They serve as a testament to lives lost. They become repositories of grief for many people. They help society as facilitators of the process of mourning. They also are expected to present a single unified historical narrative, which can be really, really complicated. And they also, in many cases, give us a shared national identity to heal divisive rifts. And the memorial we're going to start with is the one I mentioned in the overview of the module, Maya Lin's Vietnam Veterans Memorial. 40 years later, it's really difficult to think of her memorial as controversial because it is a must-see for anyone who visits Washington, D.C. And here, when we look at the memorial from different perspectives and different seasons, we're so used to seeing its visual rhetoric, that polished black granite, the lists of names, the horizontal positioning, how it's kind of embedded into the earth. And we think about these as kind of standard practice in public memorials. In fact, I'm beginning with this memorial for this week because it really has inspired all later public memorials. It's become the standard for public commemoration and memorials, and we're going to see its influence in the other works we're going to explore. It is a memorial on the National Mall. It's owned and maintained by the National Park Service, but the impetus to create this really came entirely from the private sector and from one man in particular, Jan Scruggs, who was a Vietnam vet who was wounded in the line of duty. Some of you might know the Hollywood film Deer Hunter, and that movie came out in 1979, not too long after the end of the Vietnam War, and Scruggs, he launches this personal crusade to raise funds for a memorial to pay tribute to the soldiers who died in the Vietnam War. And it is a campaign over a number of years, and the goal was to create the intended goal was to create a memorial that did not contribute nor comment upon unresolved controversies surrounding the war. Instead, they wanted the memorial to really serve as a tabula rasa, a blank slate upon which individuals could project their own personal experiences of the war. And when we look at this minimalist form, I mean, look at this drawing from Lin here on the left. This really is exactly what they got, this blank slate. Maya Lin was chosen from nearly 1,500 entries. She was a 21-year-old college student at the time. And we see that this work makes no references to any past historical styles. So it doesn't look like it came from classical antiquity. It doesn't look like ancient Greek or Roman works. Like many other monuments do on the National Mall, but instead there's no figurative ornamentation or any embellishment at all. In fact, the only thing that's included here is the list of names, and those names are listed by the year in which those people were killed. What is also missing is the military rank of the fallen, and that was intentional, as a way to say, in death we are all equal. It doesn't matter what rank someone worked at if they lost their life in war. Now, while this memorial was chosen because it fit the parameters of the competition to create this kind of neutral blank slate, it was immediately divisive for a number of reasons. Many people did not like that Maya Lin was an Asian American. There were many racist critiques. Why would we choose a Chinese American to design a memorial for a war that the US waged in Asia? There were also many ageist critiques as well, that she was too young to design an effective memorial. And others said that this was, it was too somber, this kind of polished black granite, that it wasn't heroic enough, it wasn't celebratory enough. And this extreme visual simplicity of Lin's monument made it easy for people to kind of to see it as something that that was not appropriately commemorative. And if we think about this memorial in comparison to other works on the National Mall, think about the Lincoln Memorial or the Jefferson Memorial, this work is very different. Lack of figuration, much more kind of abstract and unconventional. But as I said, this really does become the standard in public memorialization. However, the critiques really became so virulent that a compromise was struck, and the work, another work was included kind of off to the side of the memorial. This is Frederick Hart's Vietnam Veterans statue that was erected in 1984. Now, this work is not nearly as visited as Maya Lin's Vietnam Veterans Memorial. But it is certainly more conventional. It's figurative. It's a bronze statue of 3 soldiers in uniform that really, that really speaks more to a kind of traditional conservative strain here. Not only do people visit, though, the memorial, but if you have been, you know that people will take rubbings of names. They're inscribed into the stone, so you can take a pencil rubbing of perhaps a family member, a loved one's name. People leave gifts, stuffed animals, photographs, dog tags at the memorial. In fact, there's been so many things left because this creates such a visceral, emotional experience for the visitors that there are warehouses full of mementos that have been left at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. All right. We can see this kind of abstracted, stark, austere minimalism also at play in the memorial to the victims of the 9/11 attacks at the World Trade Center. And this is where we'll pick up in the next video.